Yes. The Knicks beat the Miami Heat. Defeat Heat culture 116-107. Karl-Anthony Towns 44-12, baby. You know what we say in New York when Karl-Anthony Towns has a big game? Let's get sassy, baby.
What?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
What? Who said?
Let's get sassy.
Who
baby.
says this?
We say it.
Who's we? We got. Who's we? We speak French now.
Me and my boy Mark, we're starting to trend. Let's get sassy.
Oh my gosh,
Carl! If you ever want to do a podcast, by the way, I am a professional podcast producer. We can produce a podcast called Let's Get Sassy. It do numbers.
I don't.
It do numbers.
I don't think Kat would want to do that, but Kat, sure. If you're interested, definitely hit him up. He is a professional. Besides,
I really am.
Yeah,
I am. We'll talk. We don't have to talk about that. But anyway, Knicks beat the Heat 116-107 in a game where I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think they were gonna win.
Oh, look at the
Hold on, comma after halftime, because I was watching the game and I'm like, man, this team just does not click. And then I tweeted, Kwab, did you see my tweet?
I was gonna bring that up later. I was gonna be like, 'cause I was gonna see what direction you were gonna go in for the recap, because I was gonna be like, hey, it didn't seem like you were like, yeah, go Knicks the whole time.
The Knicks were down double digits. And I just kind of let off a tweet like, man, chemistry is so delicate. I'm paraphrasing. Chemistry is so delicate. Like, it's just amazing that, you can have a team essentially that is in sync with each other and, you switch it up a little bit and all of a sudden, you don't have the same results. And then once I tweeted that, it was almost like Thibodeau called the timeout, took out his phone. It was
like, yeah, look at this. Look.
You
Do
you see this? See what's being said?
They're saying we don't got it. They're saying we don't got it right now. You see this? This is what's wrong.
And then they went on a run. So credit to me for that. But more credit to Karl-Anthony Towns.
He said, I did this.
I did. I'm taking full credit for it. I don't give a damn. 44-12. To me, the performance that the Knicks needed, in the sense where he was so aggressive all game, not just taking shots, not just looking for shots, but on the offensive glass, on the defensive glass. Josh Hart, to me, has been, you can argue Josh Hart has been the best Knick all year, just from a consistency standpoint. 14 rebounds. I thought Bridges played okay. He didn't shoot well, but I thought he played good. He made some timely hoops and then made some timely plays. Same with Jalen Brunson. He hasn't got off to a good start shooting the basketball. But he had a big shot in the fourth quarter there. I thought he played with intention in the first quarter to speed up the game and to get other people involved, which I really appreciated coming from my point guard. A lot of times, Jalen looks for his shot first, and which is fine. I mean, that's just the way the game is now. Point guards aren't necessarily always looking to pass first, and Jalen's a scoring point guard. But today, he took the initiative to try to spread the basketball, get everybody involved, and to push the pace, which I really, really appreciated. The Knicks took 43 pointers, which was also a point of emphasis where we wanted, as Knicks fans, and even Thibodeau and the coaching staff said, shoot more threes. You got to get threes up, 18 for 40 for 45% from three-point range. I do have a little bit of gripe with how they've defended, especially in the first half. But at the end of the day, they won the game, and they won the game in a way in which I was happy to see them winning. It wasn't really finesse. It was, we're going to crash the boards, we're going to crash the O boards, we're going to play defense, we're going to rotate, we're going to be physical with you. And to be honest with you, this is one of the few games I've ever watched with the Knicks and Heat where Jimmy Butler just didn't feel like he had any imprint whatsoever on the game.
Looked like he didn't care.
Right?
It was half, it was so weird.
It was one of the weirdest things. I just feel like the whole time he was just there.
Yeah. He
had 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. And it's, we got on Cat last game because he took 8 shots. Jimmy took 9, but it just didn't feel like Jimmy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not insinuating anything. I'm not saying that something's going on over there. Tyler Hero had 34 points. Bam Adebayo, who's been struggling shooting the basketball to start the season, 11 points on 3 of 7 shooting. Outside of Tyler Hero, they didn't really shoot the ball well. And I don't think the Knicks really played great defense, especially in the first half. Second half, they definitely picked it up. But the Knicks couldn't guard the pick and roll in the first half, especially in the first half. The Heat were getting wide open Jays, and for me, I was like, man, they're missing some of these shots. They were actually making more than the Knicks at the time, obviously, because they were winning. But like the league could have been so much worse. I thought the Knicks defense in the first half was so poor, man. They were giving up open shots, and the Heat just weren't hitting a lot of open shots. So they dodged a few bullets there. Overall, though, I liked how they responded in the second half after Tibbs showed them my tweet. So shout out to me. I did that. 2-2. Kwab, your thoughts on the game?
Watching the games, a couple of things that stood out to me, especially in the first half, was Deuce McBride's activity, just like on defense and just even like just trying to get his hands on second chance points. I feel like a lot of times the Knicks all need to play with that type of activity. Just you have the type of defenders in OG and Mikal who should be like just kind of all over the place trying to create chaos and turnovers, and it hasn't been the case. I think in my mind that's what I thought when I envisioned the lineup with Josh Hart, with Mikal, with OG, when you have the type of wing defenders who can switch, who can kind of just cause chaos for the opposition. And when Deuce checked in, there was a couple of times where he was just pressing up on the ball, even off ball, and it impacted the game. Karl-Anthony Towns was aggressive, like you said. This is what you wanted to see from him from the last game. Like, yo, just make sure that you have an impact on the game. That you're just not falling in the background. You are supposed to be a main factor on this team. There's a reason why you were brought in this trade. Just don't just stand on the perimeter and be passive. And he was aggressive the whole game. I know you were worried. I know you were worried. Let's just.
Oh my God, I was gonna have. He's gonna torment me, man.
I had jokes. Tonight. I had the jokes written. They were ready. They were ready. So I was like, oh man, you guys can't stop Drew Smith. Like I had just
the whole, Drew Smith came off of a pick and roll, and they were in drop coverage. No one like really guarded him. He took a mid-range jumper, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, is he? And then Thomas Bryant
hit 2 threes. I was gonna like you know.
Like, stop this right now. This is not gonna happen.
I didn't tweet anything. I wasn't gonna. I was just waiting for the game to be over. I was just gonna start listing off the craziness. I'm like, but you that third quarter run was great. I think that's what you want to see from a team that has expectations. Like,
yeah,
Cat being aggressive. Jalen had a terrible first half in terms of scoring.
Right.
Second half stepped in.
He had a floor game. Yeah.
Like stepped in, did what he was supposed to do. The progression of the game was like, to me, the team that had the more talent, you could say on paper, won.
Right.
Like the talent showed.
That's what it felt like. It just felt like they just overwhelmed them with talent at the end of the day. Like, because the Heat, again, like for most of the game, it felt like the Heat were getting better looks.
Yeah, they just weren't
up until like that. Up until that run, but it's like any team with, I wouldn't say better shooters because the Heat are okay, but like if they were on that night,
yeah,
the Knicks might have been down 15, 20 points.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like, and I'm happy that the Knicks won this game. But I can't ignore the fact, like, I have a note here. It says the Knicks, too many defensive lapses, can't guard the pick and roll.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to me. You can't guard the pick and roll when you have OG, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. But guarding the pick and roll isn't just about the two people being set on the screens, right? Like, you have to help. Like, there was one situation where Deuce was helping too much, so there's a pick and roll. Deuce was helping way too much in the paint. Guy came off the pick and roll. Tyler Hero opened three. It was just because he was helping too much.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like when the Knicks get in trouble, it's because they're over-helping. And it's really frustrating. It's like you're dropping and over-helping at the same time, and you can't guard anybody, including Drew Smith. No offense to Drew Smith, but come on, man. Drew Smith should not. And he wasn't killing the Knicks. It was like a 2-minute period.
It was a 2-minute period. It wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah. It was like a 2-minute period in the game where he hit a jumper, he had an assist. And I was like, what is going on?
I was like, and I was like, perfect.
I'm like, Drew Smith is going to drop 20 on us. Didn't happen.
But I think we talked about this. We talked about this. Actually, I think yesterday we had this discussion when we were talking about, me and you were off camera, off podcast. We were talking about the Knicks, and I told you I don't think you're gonna see the real Knicks team until maybe after the All-Star break, because until then they'll probably have seen different scenarios in games and how to like better communication. And where to be defensively and offensively as a team. Like you said, the overhelping and all that just comes from not not knowing your teammate or not trusting your teammate. Sometimes your teammate doesn't need that overhelp. Sometimes you should know that, hey, if you are overhelping, do you have a man behind you that's going to cover your man or shade on two? And they're not clearly they're not there yet, but there's still time for them to get there. They just need to keep getting these, stacking up these wins here and there as they're supposed to. I think they'll be fine. My question for you.
Oh God, here we go.
My question for you, because after the Cavs game, when you said you don't think the Cavs could beat you in a 7-game series, do you think the Heat could beat your Knicks in a 7-game series after what you've seen?
No, I think the Cavs have a better shot at beating the Knicks in a 7-game series than the Heat do.
Oh, you think the Cavs have a better chance of beating the Knicks than the Heat do? Okay.
Yes.
Let me make sure. I need to mark that down. I can
Do you
only
hear that? Heat culture.
I can only
you
hope,
hear that.
I can only hope for this matchup in the future. I can only pray and hope for this matchup.
I hope there's some dude in Miami is like, adios mio, baby. I hope.
Just I hope. Just that
Taking notes.
That feeling you had that first half, and then you have to go tweet about it, that feeling. You're like, oh. I don't think we got it.
That was more of like a me thing. That was more of like a we thing.
Oh no. That's oh sure. Trust me, because
listen. At the end of the I ended the tweet with, it's still early though.
Oh, you did. I did.
It wasn't like I was freaking out. I was like, it's still early.
But you weren't the only one. You weren't the only Knicks fan that had the same sentiment when you were talking about looking at this team and looking at like, yo, maybe we should have given the other team a chance and not made the trade because this feels like a completely different team and all that. You're not the only person that's had these feelings after these early games.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and I've been saying this even before the Cat trade, buddy. Like, it's hard to beat the Heat.
The Heat can be the 10 seed, get in the play-in, get the 8 seed, and go to the finals. It's weird.
It's weird. It's just
but
weird.
But even in that case, I'm not gonna pick the Heat to beat the Knicks.
I don't expect you to. I wouldn't. If you did, I'd be shocked. And you're a lifelong Knicks fan. I wouldn't want you to. If you did that, I'll think something is wrong. And again, disclaimer: I'm not a Heat fan. I just like to troll.
Might as well.
all my Knicks fans, all my friends who are Knicks fans with this. I just like to troll about it. I'm just saying the Heat culture is just you can. It's just so tough, you guys.
Speaking of the Heat, though, like, just your honest thoughts about the Heat tonight, and I wouldn't say their ceiling, but to me, as an observer, in the 4th game of the season, they seem just very average. They didn't. Terry Rozier's a nice player, but I don't think he should be a starting point guard for a contending team in the East. Tyler Hero shot his ass off. I mean, you're not going to get that type of game from Jimmy Butler. Bam Adebayo's probably going to be better. So we've seen what they can do in the past. But it just also feels like the East the teams are just better now. You include the Knicks that beat them tonight, the Celtics, the Pacers, the Cavs. Like, it's just kind of like they just plateaued and never really got better. They're the same team, and maybe that magical run. Not that it was a fluke, but they were AC for a reason that year, and maybe that's just what they are. That's how I feel about the Heat when I think of the Heat. In all seriousness, if they're a team that plays harder than everybody, they're going to beat you up. If you don't show up, they're going to beat you. But at the end of the day, like, they're just kind of limited.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of agree with that. I just feel like they never make the big move. You know what I mean? It always feels like they're the team that's always talked about, like, oh, this big star player might be interested in the Heat, but they never get, since, apart from, like, I guess Jimmy Butler, they haven't really made that move to make the team like any better. It's just constantly just been this team, what it is, and them being comfortable with it being this team. Now, we talk about chemistry and continuity like that. Yeah. I guess they're comfortable with that, and also they have such a high belief when it comes to like playoff time and exposure, being one of the best coaches in the league, that he can scheme up some things for it to work. Even this game, there were moments where they were playing zone.
Yeah, they're playing zone, and the Knicks handled it pretty well. They typically don't.
Yes, and I think that's the difference between having somebody like Cat, who was like, any spot on the floor it's an option for him to score. So he can up top, free throw line extended. He can slide right in there, hook shots, everything. And he was, like you said, he was super aggressive. Now, I don't know if he, again, if this was a 7-game series, I don't know if he has that same consistency for the whole series. But seeing him play that way is very promising, especially like knowing that the Heat try like different types of coverages to try to scheme it out. But yeah, I like a lot of the players on the Heat, but like you said, it just feels like they're just cool with what they are, and they're just cool with getting into the game. Like they're just cool with getting into the playoffs. They're not worried about like it never seemed like there's no sense of urgency with them.
Right.
With off season, like anything else, just like we'll get in and then we'll figure it out, and then we're gonna beat your ass. Like it's just been that way.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of like they remind me of my friends back in Rockland. Like we were never the best like group of 5 guys, but like we'll beat you.
Yeah.
Like and maybe if you put us in a league, we might go further than we should, but like we'll never win it. You know what I mean? And we're very comfortable with like having us as a 5.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna let anybody else in. We're gonna show up with our 5 every year in the summer and play the courts, and we'll do well. We won't do too well. We're not gonna win any championships, but we'll do okay. Yeah. That's the Miami Heat. There we go. It's me, Paul, Angelo, and Larry with Miami Heat.
Oh, what a squad! I remember that squad. I do remember that squad. Yeah, I mean, like they said. So, yeah, and some of the I did throughout the course of the couple of seasons, they've lost a lot of their shooters with like Max Strus leaving.
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent also left. Like who played these.
But Gabe Vincent, like. Again, like you say Gabe Vincent left, and it's like, what is he doing? He's, with the Heat, he was a starting point guard for a team that went to the finals.
When you put on that jersey, it's different.
It's unbelievable. Bro.
Kendrick Nunn, when he put on that Heat jersey, was different. It
was. I mean, you're not wrong.
It's different, bro. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what it is, man.
It's different.
I don't know what it is. Jaime Jaquez, who had a bad game today, if he was a rookie somewhere else, I don't know where he would be. No idea.
Yeah. And also, like, I don't think what's his name hasn't played all year. Kevin Love hasn't played all year, and he's always like a big factor with them. So yeah, I don't like. They're the team. Like, yo, we just got to get in, and we'll see what happens. So that's how I feel about the Heat. Anytime I've watched them so early on in the season, but like you said, and you've made the point, they're probably gonna end up improving like individually and as a team with like Butler and Bam. So we'll see how that looks as the season progresses.
All right, Kwab and I are recording a full episode tomorrow, so that's going to be dropping probably I would say early night Eastern time. We'll see. We're going to talk about times right now, so stay tuned for that. Friday, I will be reacting to the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets game. Kwab might not be here because he has work. He has a job. Dudes be working. So I might have a special guest who's a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, my boy Zach, who we did a season preview with and then had to delete it because 2 days later, Cat gets traded to the Knicks and everything went out the window that we talked about. So we never released a Minnesota Timberwolves season preview. But I might have Zach on. If not, it'll just be me solo. Leave your comments. We're using your comments for our YouTube show tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll be responding to some of them. So just leave as many comments as you can. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for another episode of The Dime.